Hello and all, welcome to a Galaxy Man Show interview show. So for my very first guest today is this incredible actress and director who now does directing named Stacia Crawford. So I'm about to add her into the live now and have a chat with Stacia about her incredible films that are on Netflix and to talk about her directing. I'm about to add Stacia onto the live now and have a chat with Stacia. So let's begin. How's it going?
Good. Is my phone
The
okay?
camera is sideways, so it would probably need to be switched straight. There we go.
Awesome. Okay. Hi.
Hello.
Where
Thank
are
you
you?
so much. I'm actually based in Australia, by the way.
Oh, nice. What's
Yeah.
so there?
It is around 8ish here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So thank you so much for coming on to my show, Stacia. It's such a pleasure having you on. To people that don't know who you are, if you can give a bit of backstory about who you are and what you do, and then we'll dive right into the questions.
Sure. Sure. So I started off as an actor. I've been an actor my whole life. And then when I was in my 20s, I lived in New York City, and I kind of got tired of just bartending. And I really realized that if I didn't invest in myself, then how could I expect anyone else to invest in me? So I started immersing myself in filmmaking. So, I mean, I was relentless. I was constantly doing movies on the side. And this is back before we even have phones or digital. This is in the late 90s. So I started just producing short films, music videos, anything that I could actually get my hands on. And little by I started producing feature films, and then I got in a small studio called Mar Vista, and they do mostly like Lifetime, Hallmark, so on, those types of movies, those types of movies on my wall, and so I started producing with them, and um, so grateful for the opportunity, and I was really good at it, but I didn't love it. Like my heart wasn't really interested in it. And I always wanted to direct. So my direct report at the studio told me to direct a short film. Then he would take it to the higher ups and see that I could could make the jump. I did. So I took my own advice. I wrote, produced, put my own money in, and ended up acting in it. I wasn't kind of in it, but my actress fell at the last minute, as often happens in projects, and directing it, and so that kind of catapulted me to the next level of my career. And within like 2 months, they gave me a film to direct, which is, and stop me if I'm going on.
No,
and on.
you're fine. Fine.
Okay. So that one's on Lifetime right now. That one is it's called Hidden in Plain Sight. I'm sorry, it's not on Lifetime. I'm sorry, it's on Netflix. So my first feature as a director ended up on Netflix. And then I wasn't even finished with post on that one, and I ended up they got me another one, which was My Evil Stepdad, which is on Lifetime. And and so then that just kind of started. So then I did a couple of TV episodes. I did these two of those, and then so this is Dead Silent, and then I did Your Worst Nightmare, Discover. And then I just directed a rom-com for Real One. We're finishing post on that. So that started in 20. I think the first thing I directed the short film 18. So 2.5 years.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah. Well, I sacrificed a lot to get to this point.
Awesome. So we'll dive right into the questions now, Stacia. So for my very first question, as you mentioned, you do directing, and did a little bit of acting also along the side. What got you into directing as a person?
Directing first or
Yep.
acting?
What would
Um,
you with both of them, if you can say?
yeah. So I always say like I came out of the womb knowing exactly what I wanted to do. Like ever since I was little, I always knew I wanted to be a filmmaker. There was never anything else. I went to school to be a CSI. You know, I studied criminology because my parents were cops, but I think that was more a life lesson than a career. And I do bring that, what I learned into my filmmaking. Um, so, so I always wanted to be an actor. I mean, I kid you not, I have today. So but now the difference is, I used to act. It was the only word that's coming to me now is inspiration. Like I just needed to act to pay my rent. Whereas now I have such an incredible love for directing that my acting is more like a passion. Like I love to do it. I love to audition. I love to go on a set. It's such a feeling of joy as um, opposed to having to get that job so I can, keep on. So for me, it was kind of a natural progression. When I started acting, I got frustrated and started producing. And then I started getting frustrated producing, and then really fell into my, that sweet spot of directing, which I love.
Awesome. So on to my very next question. So what do you enjoy most about directing? And yeah, what's the most exciting part about it?
Yeah, so I'll just for in case anybody watching doesn't really understand the difference between the two, I'll just give a very basic. So, producers, we are responsible for keeping the film on budget. And producers really, I mean, it's kind of like when someone says I'm an engineer, right? Like that's a vast term. Same with producers. So sometimes you just bring an actor to the project, or you bring financing, or there's all levels of producer, but really it's about just getting the film done. And a director, my job is to take the script from page to screen. So when I first read the script, I will immediately write notes in the mark what my brain sees, the visuals my brain sees after reading it for the first time, and then I'll kind of go back and do a shot list, based on that, and then, it just grows from there. So I forgot the question. What was the question?
What do you enjoy most about directing?
Oh, what I enjoy most. Okay, so for me, it's more the creative. So the directing is more the creative. Because I'm an actor, I'm an actor's director. So I really, really, really love working with actors, and because I have so much schooling in the performance, I love being able to just help bring out the best performance possible. And it's just such a creative process, and it's such a collaborative process. So I really love most being able to see in my brain when I first read it, and then seeing it on the screen, and it's even better on the screen most of the time. So that's what I love most.
Awesome. So on to my very next question. So you have actually directed and produced films like The Nightclub Secrets, and you actually played a role in that, Tonya. What was
Oh,
that whole?
I always,
Yeah,
always
what was that whole experience like for you?
you know, it's so interesting. So when you're producing, like I always say, I call myself a recovering producer. So I always had a magic wand in one hand, fire extinguisher in another. That was my job. So when I was producing, it was literally like, okay, putting out fires, going here, making this phone call. Oh, what, you guys need me? Okay. And then, I'm like in the chair getting my hair and makeup done, and I'm literally on the phone with like insurance. And so it was really, because as an actor, I approach things very on the fly. Like I don't, everyone has a different process, right? For me, unless I just, I don't do a ton of work on the actual character, kind of go in the moment. So a lot of times, so I don't get in my head, right? I don't have, months and months and months get into my head and go, oh, am I doing this right or I'm doing this wrong? So when I'm producing, it was a little bit more stressful because I was like, oh God, can we do this before, I mean, my scene before lunch, because, you know, there's a problem with this, or there's, whereas in directing, directing is much more, I get nervous. It's interesting. I get more nervous because, you know, I step out of my role. And usually my DPs, like my DPs and my ADs were so, you know, in sync. So usually I'll have either my DP or AD come in and but I get nervous because I don't want to let anyone down, right? Like I get a little, but it's exciting. It's exciting to kind of, you know, throw on the makeup and you know, jump into it. And then I just jump right back out. Then it's like, okay, boom, out, I'm back out. And then I watch it. You know, I usually watch it before we move on just to make sure that I didn't mess up badly. You know?
Well, I have to say, by the way, Nightclub Secrets was incredible. I actually watched it a couple of weeks back again, and Nightclub Secrets was really incredible. You guys did such an incredible job with Nightclub Secrets, and yeah, I just want to applaud you guys on your incredible job that you guys did with that.
Paul Menendez, who's my mentor, he directed that. So yeah, we had fun. We had a lot of there's a lot of fires to put on that, but it was a lot. Yeah. Oh, good. I'm so glad you watched it and liked it.
Yeah, it was really good. So on to my very next question. So you actually have been in a Christmas film. What was it like being in Perfect Christmas Present? And yeah, what was that whole experience like?
That one was fun. That one was so much fun. So one of my best friends is a very well DP. He shoots like Rami, Glow, flight attendant, so much. So we did a film together called. They always change the name. So sometimes when I get stuck on the name, what was it called? You know, what did it end up in? It was called Forsaken. He's gonna kill me for saying this, but I was in a scene, and I did not like the way I was lit. I was so upset, like when it was all said and done. So when we did the Perfect Christmas Present, I kept saying, you better light me well. You better light me well. And so that was kind of like the running joke of the day. Like the gaffer was in on it. Everyone, oh, Stacia needs to be lit well. So that was fun. Actually, the makeup artist wanted to do like a 1940 style because I've got so much hair and she had all this. So really the character kind of came from the outfit, if that makes sense. And it was so much fun. I mean, we shot in Chicago, and, you know, Sam Page, I mean, just what a dream to work with, both in front of the camera and behind. And that was really exciting. I really, really, really loved that. And Blair Hayes, also a very good friend of mine, he directed it. So it was wonderful.
Awesome. So on to my very next question. You were actually in a film called Forsaken, and you actually have directed and produced that. What was that whole experience like, working with that?
Yeah. That one, I produced that one, and that was my first one for Martha. I love that one. I love the script. It was like a modern day telling of Macbeth, and except for Macbeth and Lady Macbeth were students. So the kingdom was the football arena, and I loved it. We shot in Oklahoma, and I love Oklahoma. So that one, but it was hot. It was in the middle of the summer, and it was my first one with Mar Vista. So I was, you know, like, oh, I got to do this right. It was a great experience. I love Connor. Actually, so Connor and I have stayed really good friends. His brother, Jake, is an actor, and they've got a big movie out right now. I mean, it's all over the. I think it's called No Man's Land. But Jake was one of the leads in my Netflix movie. So you know, just keeping it in the family, because, you know, in this business, we're moving at such a fast pace. So when you really connect with someone and you have good rhythm and you trust, you want to work with those people, right? Work with, you know, it starts from the top, and everyone keeping their energy up and their integrity. So it was fun to work with, you know, Connor, producer, and then work with Jake, brother, as the director. It was a lot of fun.
Awesome. So on to my very next question. So you actually have been in a film called River Guard, and you played the role of Nikki. What was that whole experience like for you?
That was 7 years of my life. So that was like, it's still going on. Um, golly, that one I kind of, it took 7 years. That was a really interesting experience. This is right on the cusp of like where the red cameras were coming out. So this was, golly, I don't even remember the year. I don't, 2007, something like that. We had a cast, we had financing. It was like $2 million, which was very low budget at the time. And we were shooting on Super 16, and Esther died like 4 days after we started shooting. We lost financing, had to shut down, and ended up having to, put it down for a few years. And then we picked it back up again at a much lower budget. Had to recast it. So it was a great experience. It was a great learning experience. But for me, it was more like it was such a passion project for me for so many years. And there was so much that went on with it. So it was nice to actually finish it and and move on. And that actually, I went from there to Mar Vista and started doing all the other Hallmark Lifetime movies from there.
Awesome. So my very next question. So who inspired you as a person to get into acting and directing? And yeah.
No, go ahead. And?
That was just the question. So who inspired you as a person?
I'm inspired constantly. So like I said, I always knew when I was little, like I always knew when I was little what I wanted to do. So, I get really, people make fun of me because I get really inspired by directors or cinematographers or actors as well. But for me, it's more directors. I just do. The way that people can tell a story. I mean, of course, I love the greats like Fincher and Ron Howard, and Joe Menendez, like I said, is one of my dearest friends, and he's my mentor. But what I'll do is I'll watch a TV series or a show, and I'm really probably very movie with, because I'll stop it and start it and stop it and start it and then take notes, and I'll say like, oh my gosh, did you see the way that they look at the color, with this, and so I'm so inspired by so many. I don't think it was just like one person, or it wasn't just like one movie or one person. It really was just an amalgamation of so many talented people that I'm, so blessed to be able to share this incredible entertainment with.
Awesome. Well, could I just recommend you a director, by the way? He's such an incredible director, and his name's Luke Spark. He has directed such incredible films like Red Billabong, which was such an incredible hit. And so another film he's created, it has been Occupation, the very first Occupation, and then now Occupation Rainfall, which is like an alien invasion kind of film. So yeah, highly recommend Luke Spark. Yeah, really. If you like those kind of directors, like with sci-fi, Luke Spark is the director for sci-fi.
Oh, watch that.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So on to my very next question. So what have you learned about your...
From your side of the pond, they're incredible. Oh my gosh. Ash, I mean.
Oh yeah.
Did you see his short spider? Oh, I was like.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Or the square. Come on, people like that. I mean, yeah.
Just like directors that know their stuff. Like,
oh, yeah.
Totally agree. So on to my very next question. So what have you learned about yourself as a person during COVID?
During COVID? Great question. So I have I have a lot of tolerance, but I have very little patience. And so I think what COVID is, I think COVID, obviously with all of its atrocities, I think the silver lining that I've been able to witness is really about people coming together and really realizing what's important, and families, and for me, what I always tell filmmakers and actors is we our industry can't survive not making content, right? So we are going to be so busy. Like, take this time that we're down right now, and do these things like this. Do, you know, interviews, Q&As, and reels going, and keep that energy going. But rest, because I truly think we're going to be so busy that that we just need to be prepared for that. And but as far as learning from me, breath, and really just appreciate the moments, quiet moments, because there's so much in that. But also to stay inspired.
Awesome. So on to my very next question. So if you could direct any TV or movie franchise, what would it be and why?
I'm really, really on to a Discovery of Witches right now with Matthew Good. I think it's spectacular. I'm obsessed. So obviously something like that. I have a tendency to, a lot of the work that I get offered are thrillers, female-centric, and I love that. And I think because my parents were cops and studied criminology, it kind of comes naturally to me. I would have been, I say this often, I probably would have wanted to be a profiler if I wasn't a filmmaker. It's analytical, and I just love piecing it together. However, I just directed my first rom-com, and I'm directing a Christmas movie in a couple of weeks. So we'll have to circle back after that to see, you know, which ones I liked better. But I think for me, it's like, you know, Discovery of Witches, or of course, I'm on the spot now, so I have all these movies that I just can't think of, and I can't think right now.
It's all good. It's all good. So on to my very next question. So what are the positives and negatives into the whole directing and producing, and how do you get through those negatives as a person?
Okay, so the positives are really collaborating, right? It's really being able to do, you know, taking the script and putting it on the screen, right? That's, and like I said, the incredible thing that I get to collaborate with and work with. And it's, you know, sometimes like we'll be auditioning for a movie, and I'll be like, oh my gosh, that person auditioned for me. Oh, I know that person doesn't need to audition for me. I know exactly. I mean, like, I get super excited about working with certain people. And I think that starts from the top, right? So when you go to set, and when the director is so excited to be there and just filled with gratitude and really wants to do the best thing possible, I think it trickles down. But then we're all human, you know. We're moving at such a fast pace, and now we've got the COVID, you know, where we have to stay far apart. So for me, on a personal level, the most difficult part of directing right now with COVID is having my face covered, because I'm such an actor's director, and most actors who I've worked with, like I like to really work with them kind of up close and personal. And I don't like to, I don't yell ever. I don't even yell actions. Like, I like my AD yell action, because I just like to keep my voice kind of personal. So for me, it's been really difficult I don't like to yell, you know, give direction from a distance, and then having to keep that distance from my actors. But it's not impossible. I mean, it's been fine. And then I think just the problems are the things that happen. I mean, you know, you're playing a snow scene, and then suddenly, you know, 58 degrees in the middle of February in Chicago. You know, stuff like that. It's just the practical stuff that you just kind of go, okay, let's. But I always say, like, we've got jobs on the planet, man. Like, we're not curing cancer. We're not in a war zone. We're making And it's, if we're not having fun doing it, then why are we, you know?
Yeah, totally agree. So on to my very next question, and very last. So to add on to my last question, so if you could have any dream actor to work with, who would it be and why?
Oh my God, I mean, there's just so many. Like, you know, I've worked with so many great, there's a lot of actors I'd want to work with again, but like Cillian Murphy or, um, you know, Clive Owen, or, you know, some of the greats, you know, some of the greats. There's so many incredible actors. And there's also so many incredible actors that you might not know their names, but just watching their nuances and watching, you know, sometimes I'll watch a TV show and go, who is this person? How can I work with them? And same with producers, you know, same with, and even as an actor, like I told you, I'm still auditioning. I'm auditioning for huge shows in Atlanta. And sometimes I'll read like the breakdown and go, oh my gosh, I would love to work with this producer, you know, or I'd love to work with that director. So there's so many, it's hard for me to say, but yeah, let's say Cillian Murphy. Ashley Judd would be
Yeah.
an incredible, you know, you name me why, like all these big people, but you know, people I've worked with in the past, you know, Chris Johnson and like I said, Sam Page, and I mean, people that I would just love to work with again. Jake Allen.
Oh man, I tell you one actor I could see you probably work with,
Okay.
David Tennant.
Who?
David Tennant.
David Tennant. No, I don't.
Oh
Yeah.
man,
Yeah.
phenomenal actor.
Okay.
Scottish. He was actually in Doctor Who as the 10th Doctor.
Oh yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
I know that.
phenomenal actor. Yeah,
Oh yes. Uh-huh.
yeah,
You offline about like your suggestions. I'm loving this.
yeah. I actually watch a lot of TV shows and movies, and I'm just such a nerd. I don't know. I just love all my movies and stuff that I watch, and that's why I love doing interviews with like you guys, because it gets me out there, and I just love supporting like directors, actors, and especially in these times we are all in right now. It's definitely like filmmaking and the magic of movies is very important, and the industry is very important. So I love the work that you all do to make films and make series. So yeah, really applaud you on your job.
Oh, thank you. And it is for us too. I mean, sometimes like even with COVID, I don't usually tend to watch the romance sappy stuff, but like, oh, Bridgerton, you know, like I'm watching all this romance stuff and so yeah. Um so real quick. So when I lived in California, I used to always go to Q&As for, you know, SAG or the DGA, and I just thought it was so important as a maker, whether an actor, to go to these to do, you know, these Q&As or to, you know, watch things live, because what it does is you see how we're all in it together, right? Like we're all, you know, I remember going to one, it was a big budget movie, and I remember they had like a similar issue I've had on like a smaller, you know, smaller movie, and I'm like, oh, I'm not alone in this. This is great. So really, you know, knowing that there's a collaboration, there's a camaraderie, and no matter what level you're in, you're having the same issues and you're having the same successes, and it's, I think.
Awesome. So on to my very next question and very last question. So what's next for you for 2021, like project wise, that you would like to announce on the show?
So I am directing a feature called A Unicorn for Christmas. Super excited about it. I've been attached for a while, and we're starting, you know, the date's shifting a little bit because COVID and everything going on. Starting probably in April. I'm sorry. Wait, where are we? March in Atlanta. So that's super exciting. And then I'm hoping to do another feature with an executive producer that I just did the rom-com with, and you know, who knows? Like that's the great thing about this business too, is we can hang up from this and I can get a call for, you know, a TV series, or you just never know.
Awesome. So can I just say thank you so much, Stacia. It's been such a pleasure having you on my show. Everyone, whoever hasn't seen Stacia's work, definitely go check out her work. She's one truly incredible actress and director. So definitely go check out her work. Any last final thoughts or anything that you'd like to say on the show to people?
No, I just think just believe in yourself, invest in yourself. You cannot expect anyone else to invest in you if you're not going to invest in yourself. Can you do the days? If anyone has any specific questions, you can hit me up on Instagram. My website is Sage Bell Films, S-E-E Bell B-E-L-L-E Film. And you can go and see different, the different things that I've done. But you can also email me through there. And thank you for having me. This is great. It's important to really just keep, during COVID, like keep people's, inspiration up and energy.